Hey, Tony Gadsden here, popping in. It's one thing I learned, and I was thinking about this, and I've been working with, college teams and pro teams, sports teams, and talking, to young men. And one thing that I've realized is that a lot of people in positions of power, like parents and coaches and teachers and professors, fail to state the obvious. Like, you gotta state the obvious. You cannot just assume that your child, your son or your daughter knows not to do this. You gotta be very direct and you have to state the obvious. Hey, do not drive over 60 miles an hour. Do not drive over 70 miles an hour on the highway. Never pick up your phone while you're driving. If you're getting ready to sleep with someone, you have to wear protection. If you're getting ready to do this, you have to do this. Like, put your right foot in front of your left foot when you're walking. Don't look at your phone when you're walking. Like, you have to state the obvious. Those just, random things, not literally speaking literally, but I noticed, like, even seeing young men go through things in their life, and we see so many of these organizations. And one thing I've realized in a lot of organizations is that the player is just a product. The player is just a product, and the league is just, checking a box to say, oh, we have player development, or we have, this right here or that. But it's just they will intentionally bring in people that are ineffective. They will intentionally bring in people who they know are not called to do that, but just to check the box to say we did it. And then it's like, okay, now get out here on this field. Get out here on this football field. Get out here on this ice. Get out here on this basketball court and just and do what I brought you here. Oh, you struggling in your relationship? I don't care. You struggling in the classroom? I don't care. You struggling with your family? I don't care. Or, here, talk to this Bob Smith. And will intentionally, in organizations, they'll have organization will have 80% African American and pay $50,000 to bring in a white male from the suburbs to talk to 80% African American and who come from lower income areas. But it's just to check a box, and it's just to give the coach giving his buddy a check. Hey, here go the check. And I remember, working in an organization years ago, and one of the people in the organization gave me a little book, and I got the book, and he got me I'm working with African American males from gang infested neighborhoods. And he gives me this book from a white male who come from the suburbs. And the book was just so elementary and had nothing to do with these guys and what their life has got going on and what they're dealing with. And I'm like, whoa, what in the world going on here? And it just helped me realize that a lot of times we going through the motions and we're not stating the obvious. Guys might get tired of me. One of my guys, I realized it late, but I texted him the other night at 1 o'clock in the morning. I was up studying and it just hit me, and he hit my spirit. And I texted him, I said, hey, watch out for these traps, watch out for these setups that's getting ready to come, in your DM, like, be careful. And somebody might look at them like, duh, I know that. But you have to state the obvious. Like, with your children, stop assuming that your son who's 16 knows that when a woman say no, that mean no. No, he don't know that. He don't know that. That he knows that when he getting a massage and his body start to react, he can't open his mouth and go to talking about what he want. That when he in the car with this young lady, that he can't just make his move. And if he go to kiss her and she lean back, he got to stop. Like, you have to walk them through the scenarios, and you just can't assume that just because a person get a cooked meal every day and they got a shower that they could take a shower every day, and they got new shoes, and they got a nice car to go to school in, that they automatically know how to interact with people and what to do and what not to do. And that's what you have to understand when you imprinting, when you teaching, that every aspect of life, when you with your child and you riding down the street, if you come to the stop sign and the rule is whoever gets there first to the stop sign at the four-way stop gets to go first. You explain that, and so look, I pulled up first. This car pulled up second over here, so I get to go first. If you at the green light and it turned green and you count 1001, 1002, and then you go, when you do that, you explain the reason why I counted 1001 is to make sure on the other side of the road, nobody was flying, running the red light. A lot of people see that green light, they think they in drag racing and they hit that gas and they gone right when the light turned green, but somebody running the red light and now you got a fatal crash right there in the intersection. So every little thing that you learn in life, you got to drop that jewel. You got to drop that jewel. At 9 years old, I remember being in school and everything was going on. It's all kind of touching and feeling on private areas from kindergarten. From kindergarten, it was touching and feeling on private areas. I remember that. I remember what we were trying to get into. So at 9 years old, I started explaining that to my son, because I also said my tomorrow is not promised. So I can't just assume that I'm going to be here when my son's 16 years old. I'm praying and hoping, but I can't just assume that. So what my son need to know. And I'm telling him about, we talking birds and bees. He was like, Dad, my stomach is hurting. Please stop. Please stop. But he know. So now if you know and you go out and you make a stupid decision and you had the knowledge, you deserve everything coming to you. You deserve everything coming to you because you knew better. You go and you get arrested like your daddy got arrested in the 9th grade. You go and you get arrested and you already know my story. You finna sit there. You finna sit there. What they got for you, boot camp, that's where you going, because you already know. And so we have to think about this as parents. I was watching, me and my wife was watching last night for the first time on Netflix. This, what that show called? Second Last Chance U for the basketball. And we was watching that, and we were talking, and we was like, you know, a lot of times people have parents, you know, a lot of times parents have kids, and they have these kids and they see the child athletic ability, and the mama is there, or the grandma or whoever is there, but they just so excited about this child athletic ability that they just let the child do whatever. They just let the child do whatever. They don't have them a face washing routine. Don't have them a shower routine. Don't teach them how to cook. Don't teach them how to clean. Don't teach them how to fold clothes. Don't teach him how to take care of himself. And just because he an athlete, oh, he gonna make millions. And we get so caught up just trying to make it. We so ready to make it out. We don't even think about their grades. Don't make them study every day, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. My son in the 8th grade, and it's some nights he up till 1 o'clock in the morning doing homework. And the reason why is because his mama say, listen, although you want to play pro as a soccer player or whatever it may be, these grades matter too. And I heard the young man say, look, I had the ability, but I didn't have the grades. And it's like all these coaches, all these youth league coaches, all these high school coaches, ain't nobody sit down and really drive home and put the resources in place. But no, the teacher don't care. No, the teacher gonna give them the 2.0 to be eligible. But nobody, and I thought about it, I'm telling my wife, I'm like, you know what, man, I have friends and family and athletes who had a 600 on the SAT. End up becoming pro athletes, but had a 600 on the SAT. And nobody cared enough to really teach him or her how to read, how to study, how to learn, so that they could actually, even after sports, have some knowledge to go and do something and build business. And I see people in my life who still don't have knowledge and common sense. And some people make millions of dollars, but still don't understand the simplest of things or can't read somebody in business and still trapped in a certain mindsets that, oh, this race is smarter than this race and this type of person is better than this type of person. It's guys who they will watch somebody who look like them make it out of nothing and be a full-time entrepreneur and earn millions of dollars and won't go to that person and ask a question because he's been made to believe that people of that race are not smart. But then we'll go to somebody of another race and talk to this man who never was an entrepreneur, who never made a dime as an entrepreneur, who was grandfathered into his position and assume that he knows something about business and about entrepreneurship solely just because of the color of his skin. And it just lacked common knowledge and common sense. And just because along the way, nobody thought to say, hey, this what you need to know. This what you need to think about. Hey, this what you need to do. And you got to be willing to state the obvious. You got to be willing to go into the areas that are uncomfortable that you know will ruin somebody's life. So when I'm talking to these young men, I'm talking to them about pornography and how that will destroy your life. That will ruin your marriage. You will be lonely. You will have a whole woman and kids and you addicted to this screen. I talked to them about that and how you got to beat that now. You got to overcome that now. I talked to them about masturbation. I talked to them about fornication. I talked to them about unprotected sex. I talked to them about smoking weed, about getting drunk, about driving too fast, about the stuff that it just, what we think is common sense. Like, oh, I know or what we feel is uncomfortable. Oh man, I'm not finna talk about his subscription to this website, watching these women. Man, hey, that's his business. No, you got to go there because that same thing right there is one day what's going to destroy his marriage, what's going to destroy his relationship with his kids. And you got to go there. So if you're in a position where you got children, hey, you got to make sure they overstand. Not understand, you got to make sure they overstand. You got to get down to the nitty gritty. You got to get in the trenches. You got to really talk about what's going on. You got to really call it out. You got to really check them. And I talked to my son. I have to get with him. Hey, boy, stop trying to be cool. Boy, stop trying to fit in. Boy, be yourself. Boy, you straight A's, no A minuses, walk in there. Hey, this why they listen to this stupid music. This why they on this stupid TikTok. But this what you got to understand. And I have to get with them. I have to let them know. And I go down the line. Hey, this boy right here, this what he dealing with. This what he's suffering from. This his issue. This one right here, this what he dealing with. Her right here, this what she dealing with. And I have to call it out and spell it out so that he understand. And then say, look, here go. This everything you need to know. Now, what you going to do with it? And we not spelling it out. Like, you got to spell it out. And because we see people grow up and we see people get in positions and do stupid stuff. And we wonder, oh, how he did that? Why he did that? Never was raised. A lot of us have not been raised. We've just grew. We just got older, but we never been raised. And so you got to get to the point to where you raising your kids and you teaching them. And you also got to be able to check yourself. And you got to be able to see your inefficiency and see where you may be going wrong and keep growing, keep working. And understand that you have to even look at what your parents did and did not do and make sure that you're not doing the same thing, that you're growing, that you're not babying your children, but you raising your children. And that come with real lessons, that come with real conversations. And anybody you have access to that may not be your child, but it may be your student. It may be your player. You're going to have to get real, because when the music stop and their head hit that pillow, they're going to remember what you said.